Hello everyone! Happy Women's Day by Jack Baines. We're breaking the sort of rule or the sort of ingrained notion that females have to have abided by certain characteristics. That's the kind of thing we're breaking, and we still need to. Some of us aren't, and all of our contexts differ. And it all depends not only on context, but what are we striving for. A number of minutes ago I was focusing on part of reading week, catching up on work I missed. I missed week 3, which was a talk on Plato and Aristotle. I mean, the differences between them, how Aristotle believes in the great chain of being, which involves a focus on a lot of the inequality, I think, because we would always be lesser than something unless we were the unmoved mover. As in, minerals will always be lesser than us. Women will always be in some ways lesser than us, according to what is said there. That's what we're breaking down time and time again. I don't simply see it as focusing on women alone, because it's caused by the very same root that causes other forms of oppression. It's bias. Bias is a very huge sin. A very huge a temptation to be better than other people. Now, there are times when being better than another person at something is just second nature. When being better at something than another person only tends to be a difference of skill. We don't just claim to be on the right side of history, we try to live lives that are like that. But we don't just focus, other than focusing on better than other people, because that is the root of slavery, the root of oppression by capitalism, the root of gender inequality of any kind. It's all sort of bias. I know this very well as an autistic person. As an autistic person, people can put boxes around you because they think by disability you really physically cannot do the stuff that most people can do. But ever since an early age, I knew that there were low-functioning autistic people as well as high-functioning autistic people. Ever since I attended the same church as a kid with that opposite end of the spectrum, we were always like, Jack, Jonathan Orphan is always going to be a lot more different to you when it comes to his autism. He will, because this particular guy could not speak, could only write over words, he couldn't do his own writing by himself, etc. Yes, I mean, there are people who have those differences. You can't make them feel discouraged in those differences. I never usually think of my autism. When I think of what to say to other people about myself, I don't put my autism first, unless it really does explain something. Other than that, I don't want to be seen as someone in a box. I never liked that kind of idea, because we're all human beings at the end of the day. Whether we have homes, whether we have breasts, whether our fashion senses differ, no matter what happens, we believe that we should be in some ways the same in terms of opportunities. When I think of these days of people being worse than me at something, it's usually in terms of the skill itself. It's not really drawing lines of identity specifically. Let me give you a key example. A lot of you may know that I'm a grade 8 flautist. This is the flute right here that I've used for a number of years that got me up to that grade. When I think of people not being as good as me, I bias against other people in terms of the certain people who haven't got grade 8 flute. Now, that is also in some ways a really bad bias to have. It's egocentric and it's, a problem because it might encourage people. You might think I'm making you guys not do flute whatsoever because of what I'm saying. But what I'm trying to make clear is I tend to judge people based on attitude. At least I want to judge people based on their attitude. Because no matter how good or bad they look, whether they're animals, etc., there are people who can do better than me. So it doesn't usually matter at the end of the day. Sometimes we need to be honest and just really understand where are the biases and what should we judge people on to do. Because there are many good women in society who have made women are certainly able. My dad's younger sister is one of the greatest bakers you could ever have. Can manage 4 children, as well as, write many great books. Yes, Lucy Rycroft is just incredible at this. That's just one key example. Her daughter recently became first place in their gymnastics group. Don't know whether it was out of the city of York or not, but she did completely well in that particular aspect, in a certain way. The oldest cousin of the family took straight A's in GCSEs, straight A stars, straight G9s, top grades for literally everything. Her mother is an Albanian who would have grown up in absolute poverty under a communist regime that just left Albania so detrimental, so poor, etc. The fact that she was in any way able to kind of get out of that kind of poverty, it shows the strength of womanhood for me, that you could get out of really bad condition. Yes, there are certainly other women out there, I can name quite a few, that have really helped me in life. It's just, you need to start seeing this we need to start judging people not by any lines drawn, not by gender, not by race, not by religion, not by anything. We need to say that people are better than others based on skill. Are they better at playing the flute? Are they better at academic stuff? Are they better in terms of skill? It's all supposed to be skills and morals based. It's not simply supposed to be about where you're from. Because that's unnecessary. That creates kind of bias, and it makes it all unmovable. And the least we can do in the days when Russia invades Ukraine, in the days of rising prices, a climate change issue, the least we need is to look at what biases are unnecessary and give people at least